Meghan Markle's desperation to reclaim her royal spotlight, making her husband, Prince Harry, absolutely miserable. When they were in New York this week, that's the question I found myself asking. We just saw them a bit on Monday, and in pretty much every interaction we saw them, Meghan was grinning and Harry looked miserable. So what is going on behind the scenes, and kind of what does all this mean for them? Because I really think the desperation to reclaim that little bit of royal spotlight is just growing exponentially. And we saw that at full display when they were at dinner. Hello everyone, welcome to Royal News Network. My name is Brittany and I talk about everything related to royal, so that's news, gossip, fashion, jewelry, television shows, movies, and history. I will do it all right here. Obviously there's been a lot of Harry and Meghan content recently. A lot of you absolutely love it, but don't worry, there'll be more other royal content coming soon, and it is Prince George's 9th birthday this week, so I am so excited. And before we jump into all the Sussex news, because I feel like we need a Sussex cleanse, we need to cleanse our palate, because there's just been so much Sussex stuff, and it's kind of, you know, it's almost seemed a bit darker and heavier this week, kind of just based on Harry. He just seems so utterly miserable. But we do have some exciting news when it comes to the Cambridges. So the Earthshot Prize will be coming to the United States this year. We didn't know that, but it looks like they are very close to announcing where it'll be. And kind of the two things that I've heard, and I actually suggested this on my Instagram account, and at first I thought, later I was like, oh, I should have changed it to Washington, D.C. instead. But then I'm like, apparently a lot of people are talking about that it actually will be in Boston. So Boston is obviously on the East Coast. It is kind of one of the centers of kind of America's history in very many ways. And it looks like that actually might be, because I did forget, so because the Earthshot Prize is so closely connected with the Moonshot Prize in terms of its inspiration that happened when JFK was president, and Boston is where his presidential museum and library is. So it does actually make sense that it could actually be in Boston. Although my understanding is that the venue at the library is not very big, so they may have to go somewhere else within the city, but I think it would be a lovely city. I heard recently that unlike New York, Boston has actually managed to actually keep its crime rate down. My sister and I want to go to New York, but every time I look at New York news or like New York Post or something, somebody's getting stabbed on the subway and somebody's being pushed onto the subway, or somebody's just being stabbed randomly in the street for no reason. So it just makes me like, I love New York. I've been to New York a couple of times and I've actually really enjoyed it much more than I thought I would. But right now, oh, makes me a little nervous to go there. But if it's in Boston, as I understand it, they actually have really good policies there, and so the crime wave is actually pretty low. So I think that would be a great location, and apparently as well, they'll probably go to Washington, D.C., because the Kennedy Center is in Washington, D.C., and that's actually where I thought they might have the ceremony, because that is kind of a kind of famous ceremony type place, and so that could be an option. And for the Earthshot Prize, I plan on actually going if I can, and hopefully maybe even getting media credentials. I think that would be absolutely fabulous. So, but without further ado, the desperation and the train wreck that is Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Oh my gosh. I've looked through all the comments from the last video I did, and so many people have commented, and it is so true how utterly miserable Harry looks. The whole time they're there at the UN event, he looks miserable, and his speech delivery was very morose. It was very, I mean, he took the right pauses and stuff, so to a certain extent it was a good delivery, but I mean, he couldn't even say a joke right. His joke was delivered so, like, he didn't even smile when he said the joke, so nobody laughed, so it's like super awkward, because a couple of people went, ah, yeah, that's funny, I guess. Are we supposed to laugh? I'm not sure. So what is precipitating this? Why is Harry's misery seeming to grow? And I think we can all kind of pull it back, and it's a kind of one person. I think it's Meghan Markle. I think as things are going more and more badly for them, I'm sure tensions at home are just ratcheting up and up and up and up. So we saw this kind of on display. At first I noticed, I mean, obviously they always walk hand in hand, so I'll get to the PDA in a minute. But the first thing I noticed is that her outfit, it's Givenchy, and it's the exact same outfit she wore in Ireland, but in black. Why did she do that? She could have worn anything. And clothes send a very powerful message. So again, I could be reading way too far into this. And I did cover this a bit on my last video, but I just want to do it a bit more. Is you look at that outfit and you go, huh, you know, that was like one of your first kind of royal tours. It's like a little mini tour in Ireland. So are you trying to like kind of recreate that trip a bit, trying to kind of make yourself, because what's bothered me about this whole American thing is that they're acting like royals when they're no longer working royals. So Harry and Meghan, they only represent themselves and Archewell and their various charities. That's all they represent. They no longer represent the monarchy. However, this is the catch-22. Even though they technically only represent themselves, every time they use their titles, they're also kind of roping the monarchy into it. But they've told us they wanted to make this on their own. They want to make their own money. They want to do this and that. Yet, I still keep seeing them try to be royal in the States. And it just doesn't work at all. You just look at them and you go, dude, you're not royal here. Like, you know, this is the States. You know, we kicked you all out for a reason. You know, we had a war in like 1776. I know it was a long time ago. King George III. You probably don't know who he is. Anyway, so I thought Meghan was very much trying to recapture that kind of magic that happened when she was first a member of the royal family and everybody was screaming her name. Everybody wanted her picture. Like, people came out and stood in lines to see her. Like, she wanted to recreate that. And she wants people to attach herself and Harry to the monarchy, even though they left. So it's just like very confusing. And I feel like that's part of the reason why their branding and marketing strategy is just not working, is because they're not royal here, yet they're acting like the royals, the Duke and Duchess of America, when they're not. And so it's just like, I feel like it's going here, there, and everywhere because none of it's working. It's not working. You're either royal or you're not. And if you're not a working royal, you need to carve out your own identity rather than clinging to the remnants of the past that you voluntarily gave up and said that it was beneath you, basically, and that you were gonna go and live your life in America. Because that's basically what Harry and Meghan said. It was beneath them. They didn't want to do any more. They were too good for it. So they're just gonna fletch it off to the side and just do their own thing. But I think they're also realizing that the star power that they thought they had never existed. It was just a reflection of the broader monarchy itself rather than an indication of their personal star power. Now, this is kind of interesting too, because as I thought about this, I may do a whole video on this, but as I was thinking about it, because some people, you know, mention in the comments, especially like hate comments, like, why are you watching like you say you don't care, but you keep talking about them. And I kind of get that. And I was thinking about it and I was like, it's the car accident effect. It's a car accident effect. That's why we watch them. We watch it because it is a train wreck. It is an absolute, like, you just watch. So I don't know where you live in the world, but in the United States at least, when there's a huge traffic accident, obviously traffic is backed up for miles. That makes sense. But sometimes what happens, I kid you not, is that the wreck is on one side of the road and the other side of the road is still going slow because people are looking at the accident as they drive by. You know, because it's one of those things where everybody kind of wants to see a catastrophe. You want to see what happens. And I think that's Harry and Meghan's draw, is the wreck accident of it, how they've kind of wrecked their lives. That's what people are looking at. And so that's why they still kind of somewhat capture, I think, the public's imagination. Not in the way they should, but because everybody's going, okay, what's going to happen next? How mangled is the car going to be? How mangled is Harry's next appearance going to be? Is he going to say another thing stupid about the United States? What will Meghan wear? Like, all those sorts of things are a reflection of the fact, not that we're interested, not that I don't think Harry and Meghan are really impacting things in terms of having the effect that they want to. People just go up and see them because they're basically the celebrity falling out of the nightclub looking trashed. But the royal equivalent of that. And back to the desperation aspect of Meghan, and I think how this is making Harry miserable is that Meghan's clutching at Harry during the UN. So I've shown this video in my last video, so I won't, I'll replay it while I'm talking. But her insistence of, he pulls his hand back, her insistence of grabbing it and pulling it back over and having both hands clutching him, I think is a reflection of her desperation. I think the relationship is not going well. Because honestly, this is just my opinion. I have no facts. Well, I have some anecdotal facts to support this, I think. But I don't think Harry and Meghan really have anything in common. Like, really, when you think about it, they say their common thing is like, well, we're both charity people. It's like, well, that's not like, do you enjoy doing the same things? Like Catherine and William, like, they love sports. They love being competitive. They, you know, go to tennis lessons together with their kids. I mean, they're very active together. I mean, and some of that is because they kind of grew up together because they've been together since they were like 20. So I think there is kind of a nice reflection in a relationship that's been that long, is that they have a great friendship foundation. Harry and Meghan don't have that, and I don't really think they have anything in common. Harry, I think, was just so desperate to have a wife that Meghan, in her own desperation to catch a rich husband, and a royal on top of that, I mean, you can't get any better. But they were so desperate together. She wanted money, he wanted a wife, that they kind of met, and Harry just gave up everything to please her. He gave up his friends, his family, his country, probably some of his hopes and dreams of, you know, maybe even living in Africa. He gave all that up for her. So Harry had this desperate quality to him, but I think that's transferred over to Meghan, and I think their relationship is not going well. Ergo, the clutching, the hand-holding has been ratcheted up to 11 because they have to sell their love. They can't just be comfortable in each other's presences. They can't just, you know, kind of naturally interact and share coy glances from time to time. I mean, they do that a bit, but it has to be that demonstrative aspect of holding hands, not just holding hands. Meghan's two-handed grip on her husband. And to me, that just doesn't speak of a healthy relationship. Because think of it, what if the genders were reversed? What if Harry was a woman and Meghan was a man, and you saw a man clutching a woman like Meghan does Harry? Think about that. That would raise red flags. And just because the genders are reversed does not mean that should not raise red flags for people. It should. So I think Meghan is almost more desperate to show this beautiful love story, because Harry says, oh, I found my soulmate. And I just always wonder, like, really? Because I think she hates Africa. I don't think they'll ever go back there, really, if Meghan has her say, because they could have actually lived in Africa. That was one of the options, but Meghan poo-pooed it, apparently. That's some of the rumor. But like, I don't think she really likes it. She obviously clearly wanted to be in California pursuing her own dreams. Harry's never said he wanted to be a producer. He never said he wanted to run a podcast. He never said all these different things that now he and Meghan are supposedly doing, which is why they're probably failing at it, is because neither one of them have the acumen or the skills to do it. So to continue this facade of this, you know, supposedly healthy soulmate relationship, they have to clutch on each other even more. And I think it's more driven by Meghan, because Meghan is a deeply insecure woman who has no real identity except for latching onto others and trying to promote herself, because she has no inner feeling of accomplishment and no inner identity, really, because she just jumps on to the next thing. And she doesn't really have, you see as well, like the only sort of consistent person in her life is her mother. I mean, she you know, totally apparently cut off contact with Jessica Mulroney. We haven't heard anything about their friendship. And, you know, it's kind of sad to think of somebody who just cuts off someone when they've done one thing wrong. It's like Jessica has been like a stalwart friend. She has kept Meghan's back for the most part. I mean, maybe she leaked stuff, but it was probably under Meghan's orders in some cases. Looking at that whole instance between Harry and Meghan, it just does not look healthy to me. It doesn't look like a couple in love. It looks more like control. And it looks like a performance. Because to me, what's been kind of crucial about Meghan is that everything related to kind of being a royal and duchessing, is what I'll call it, her duchessing, is, you know, she has this very specific smile. I actually have a whole video on this because that smile drives me bonkers, because it's like, show me a real emotion, because I know that is a facade. That's not real, because it's like everybody looked miserable at the Commonwealth service and you're just, you know, having this grin. We know it's all miserable. You guys they all look miserable. We know this is a tense situation. Show me the tension in your face instead of just faking it, because I know then you're fake. I know you're faking it. That's what I like about royals, is that generally, I mean, royals do have to smile and do all the things that, you know, other celebrities do, but they also have moments of real emotion that you see from time to time because they're not putting on a performance. I mean, there's certain demonstrative aspects of being a royal. There's certain things you have to do. You know, if somebody does something funny, you're supposed to laugh because that's kind of the social convention in that situation. But Meghan just has this, you know, she's smiling and Harry looks miserable. So it's like, so what is going on? Because you guys are showing us two different things. You either should be both miserable or both happy. If Harry looks miserable, then why is that? And why do you look like you're happy? That just doesn't make any sense. And finally, the ultimate act of desperation. Copying your sister-in-law and not looking quite as good doing it. Yeah. I just gotta say it. I'm so sorry. So Catherine wore a Roland Moret dress to the Tom Cruise Top Gun premiere. I will say, personally, I actually really like this dress, but there's also a little part of me that doesn't, because in some pictures, it really does highlight. It highlights how toned Catherine is, but it also makes me think I really want to give her a hamburger. That's just me being honest, because it is an exceptionally tight dress. But from the rear, I would kill to have that behind. You know, and that was like Pippa Middleton. I still don't get that obsession, but the Pippa Middleton behind effect. Catherine looked incredible. The earrings were wonderful. Like, it was such a phenomenal look. She looked incredible. I always thought Roland Moret dresses would be great for Catherine, in part because they're so slim and Catherine is very slim. And for somebody like me who's curvier, who has more of an hourglass shape, unless I'm super skinny, those dresses probably just won't look good on me, because I think they're meant more to give women who are slimmer the illusion more of curves, is that kind of dress. So, you know, dressing is all about understanding what your attributes are and what your flaws are, and how to highlight your attributes and minimize your flaws. So that's what I try to do most days of the week. Although some days I feel like I'm failing, but I try. I give it the old college try, and that's all you can do, right? But so Catherine wore this dress. It looked phenomenal. Everybody thought it looked phenomenal. What does Meghan do? Show up at an Italian restaurant in a jumpsuit that looks almost exactly like Catherine's dress. Almost exactly. The only difference is that it's a jumpsuit. The back is a little different. And instead of the white band going across the arms, it's just kind of a strapless style. I mean, those are minute differences. Pretty much it just looks exactly the same. And you just look at that and you go, Meghan is not unaware that she's copying Catherine. She's not. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly what Catherine wore. And so I think Meghan's desperation there is trying to show people that she can do it better. See, she can take almost the exact same look and she can make it better. The trouble is, pretty much everyone thought Catherine did it better. So it didn't really have the effect Meghan wanted it to have, because I think, everybody knows you're just copying Catherine. She could say sometime, well, I didn't know Kate. Everybody knows Kate wore that dress. She wore it 2 months ago, less than 2 months ago, to a huge world premiere. Everybody talked about it, talked about how Tom Cruise interacted with her and seemed so enamored with her. You cannot tell me you did not know that she wore that dress. Now, I went to Gabrielle Hearst's website because that is a jumpsuit, which almost cost $5,000, by the way. Harry looks like, in these photos from this dinner, that he's literally coming out of like a pub with his friends, and she's dressed in a $5,000 jumpsuit with, you know, the whole outfit is like 10 grand. So, I mean, that's kind of counting the jewelry stuff. So tell me how she didn't know that she was copying Catherine. How did she not know what she's doing? But the whole thing is the desperation. She wants to do things better. She is obsessed with Catherine, of beating her. And unfortunately for Meghan made the incredibly stupid decision of marrying into the royal family and not taking any time to learn anything about it and how monarchies work. And this is not just in the UK. This is every monarchy. So if, for example, in Sweden, Crown Princess Victoria, she will be the future queen of England. Sorry, she'll be the future queen of Sweden. And who is she compared to? Her sister Madeline and her sister-in-law Sophia. The women are compared. Same thing in Denmark, where Crown Princess Mary and Princess Marie, who actually look incredibly similar, by the way, their outfits are compared. Like, this is not rocket science. And granted, some royal ladies, like, there was actually a sweet picture of Queen Letizia. She actually went to an event, and she doesn't expend a lot on her clothes most of the time, because Spain doesn't have a ton of money like some other monarchies, and Spain itself as a country doesn't have a ton of money, so she has to be, and the king and her in-laws, her sister-in-law and her husband, so I believe it's Princess Christina's husband, actually went to jail for fraud. So they have to be very like restrained in terms of fashion and spending in Spain. So usually she goes for outfits that are actually not that expensive. And so she wore the same outfit as a woman on the same engagement. Like, it was just a random woman who was getting an award and they wore the same dress. And she was very kind about it. And a lot of the royal ladies actually have similar, like both Queen Matilda and Queen Maxima utilize the services of Nathan. So they have a couple of the same outfits. So, I mean, there's a whole thread on Royal Dish, which is a website I like because they kind of go into some of the detail of the families that you won't get from the regular news here in the States. Because oftentimes, you know, like, you know, there's gossip magazines in Sweden, but they're in Swedish and I don't understand them and they're talking about royals and I just don't know. So there's a whole thread actually about, so that's why I like Royal Dish, because it gives me some of the background of things I don't know. But they actually have a whole like thing of like royals twinning either with each other or celebrities. So it does happen. But Meghan did that very, very deliberately because her desperation is showing so badly. When she looked over her shoulder in one of those shots, all I could think was, of these paparazzi shots, I've seen a wannabe desperate actress do that a million times. That is who Meghan is. But she's now desperate to try to reclaim her status as a member of the royal family, which she voluntarily gave up. Now, her and Harry obviously didn't think they would get as, they thought the British family would essentially roll over and give them whatever they want, and that definitely did not happen. And so that really kind of messed up Harry and Meghan's plans. But their capital is going down. Their influence on kind of the international stage is going down. Nobody showed up to that event with Harry's speech at the UN. Nobody showed up. Like, that room was mostly empty. And how disheartening is it to see this empty crowd? And I wonder too, some of Harry's misery is looking at that crowd and going, what happened? I used to fill rooms. Now I can't even get half capacity. When I do speak, pretty much everybody makes fun of me and what I say. And how just sad is that? That's Harry's life now, is kind of trying to keep up with his wife. And just on the last little note, and I don't feel like this is quite as much, but Meghan Markle is also desperate to make her mark as a feminist, but she can't do it by herself. Because A, she's avoided the very basic feminist creed, is that you don't marry a man who gives you your platform. And that's of course what Meghan did. And so I'm going to pronounce it wrong again. I know I am, but I have to just go. Gloria Steinem, Meghan went to lunch with her. And she wore Bermuda shorts from Dior that probably cost $1,000 that looked like something she could buy for like $30 from Ann Taylor or Loft. Those short, like ugly Bermuda shorts they're from Dior. Her obsession with Dior, I do not get. Dior looks great on Beatrice Bormio, who buys the right things. Meghan Markle never does. Anyways, Meghan, again, is desperate to make herself happen, so she clings on to people who have more power and more influence than her. Because Meghan is unable to generate herself because she has no original or interesting ideas, really. She just copies other people. And we've heard about this a bit in the Tom Bower book as well, is that she's kind of clout chasing. She's always clout chasing because and anytime she's in meetings and she's throwing out ideas about marketing, about public relations, about publicity and all these sorts of things, people just kind of nod and go, oh, I ain't following that. That woman has no idea what she's talking about. So everybody kind of knows it. So it's just kind of, Meghan just doesn't have what it takes to do this without the power of the monarchy. And Harry is realizing as well, and Harry's misery is because he's realizing that he gave up everything just to try once again to just gave up his family, his country, his friends, everything about his life probably some historic guns his family gave him that he had to sell to appease Meghan, all to kind of do the same thing he was doing as a royal and getting unbelievably criticized for pretty much everything he does. That's got to be miserable. And I'm sure living with Meghan is misery because things are not going well for them. And I have no doubt she probably, not to say anything really, but she probably takes it out on him to a certain extent. And the staff. I do feel sorry for the staff too. That's got to be rough going. But anyways, guys, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will have the articles from the Times up soon, later this week. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.